In today's lesson, we're going to continue solving rational equations. And today we're going to get into more complex bases. So go ahead and pause the video and get this written down. So yesterday, kind of all of the ones that we looked at had the same factor in the bottom. So we had this x minus 9, okay? And we had the x plus 8. And we had the x plus 1. So we didn't really have different denominators. So today now we have different denominators, okay? So what you're going to need to do first is take a look at the denominators. Notice that this one isn't factored. So you're going to want to factor this one first. So make sure all your denominators are factored so we can see what the actual factors are. So this one will factor out an x. So then we're left with x plus 1. Now this allows us to see what actual factors are in the denominators. Okay, so I see this x plus 1 factor in both. And then I also see that we have an x as a factor. So that's going to help you figure out what you need to multiply both sides by. So we're going to need to multiply both sides by those factors. So we're going to have to multiply by the x and the x plus 1. So go ahead and get that written down there. You're going to multiply to both sides. And then we're going to actually multiply that in. So I'm just going to write down the original here as x and x plus 1. And then we're multiplying this in there. So I'm multiplying times x and times x plus 1. Then we're going to multiply this to the next part. So we've got that plus 1 that we're multiplying by x and by x plus 1. And then we have this side, and I'm going to write it with the factored bottom. So I have this x, and I have this x plus 1. And then we're multiplying this into it. So I'm multiplying by x and by x plus 1. So then we're going to go ahead and simplify anything where we see a factor that's in common on top and bottom. So you'll see here we have this x plus 1 on top and we have it on bottom. So we're multiplying by x plus 1 and dividing by x plus 1. So that's going to simplify to a 1. And so then we're just left with these kind of two x's here. So we just have the x times x. This middle one has nothing canceling. Okay, it doesn't have a denominator. I'm not going to write this 1. I'm just going to write the x because 1 times x is just x. And then we have that x plus 1. And then over here, we see that we have x on top and bottom as a factor. So x divided by x is 1, so that will cancel. And then we have x plus 1 over x plus 1. So that will also cancel to 1. So we're just left with this equals 1. So that's the point. When you multiply by this x times x plus 1, all of the denominators should be gone. So you shouldn't be left with any denominators. So now go ahead and simplify. So x times x is x squared. Distribute this x in. So x times x is x squared, x times 1 is just x, and then we have equals 1. Can combine your like terms here. So we get 2x squared plus x equals 1. Then since we have a quadratic, we want to get everything to the one side to equal 0. So we're going to subtract 1 to both sides. So we have 2x squared plus x minus 1 equals 0. So now you're going to need to factor this. So you can put it in the box. So put your 2x squared term here, your middle term of 1x in the middle, and then that negative 1. Then remember, we multiply these together. So 2x squared times negative 1 is negative 2x squared. And then you're going to find the factors of this that add to the middle. So we want the factors of negative 2 that add to 1. So that's going to be a positive 2 and a negative 1, because 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. 2 plus negative 1 is 1. And so we'll fill those in. Then we're going to look at this top row and decide what's in common. So they both have a 2 in common and an x in common. So we'll factor that out. So then I like to look here at this spot because it's this times this equals this. So what times 2x will give us 2x squared? So x times 2x is 2x squared. 2x times what will be 2x? So 2x times 1. And then for this box, it's going to be x times negative 1 will give us negative 1x. And then I like to just check to make sure that this last box is matching. So when I multiply negative 1 times 1, does it equal this? That way I know if I'm correct. So negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. So we're good. So this factors to 2x minus 1 times x plus 1. So now you can split these and solve. So 2x minus 1 equals 0. X plus 1 equals 0. Then you can solve them. So add 1 to both sides. So we get 2x equals 1. Divide by 2. So you get x equals 1/2. Subtract 1 here, so you get x equals negative 1. So our two possible solutions are 1/2 and negative 1. So then we're going to go back up to the original problem. Okay, and our two possible solutions here were x equals 1/2 and x equals negative 1. So now you need to check those and see if either of them make the denominator 0. So if we plug in 1/2 here, we're fine. 1/2 plus 1 is not 0. 1/2 does not make this 0 either, because this will be 1/2 times 1.5. So that's fine. If we plug in negative 1, negative 1 plus 1 is 0. So that's bad. Okay, so this negative 1 will make the denominator 0. It is extraneous, so it is not a solution. So our only solution to this one is x equals 1/2. Next problem, so go ahead and pause the video so you can get this written down. So we want to go ahead and factor this one again. So this one has an x that we can factor out. So then we get x times x minus 6. So that we can identify all of the factors in the denominator that we need to multiply by. So we need to multiply by an x and an x minus 6. Okay, so we see the x minus 6 here and here, and then we see this x. So make sure you multiply by both of them. So we're going to multiply this in. So we'll have 1 times x minus 6 for this first part. Then we'll multiply this into the middle. So we have that plus 7x over x minus 6. And then we're going to multiply this in. So we'll multiply times x and we'll multiply times x minus 6. And then this one we've got 9 over x times x minus 6. And we will multiply this in. So we'll get x times x minus 6. So getting this thing multiplied to all three pieces. Now you can go in and simplify. So this first part does not have any denominators that will cancel, so we'll leave it as x times x minus 6. I'm just not going to do the 1. This next part, we see the x minus 6 factor on the bottom and the top, so that will cancel to 1. So then we just have this 7x times x. And in this last part, we see x over x, which will be 1, and x minus 6 over x minus 6, which will be 1. So both of those cancel, and we're left with 9. Then you can simplify this. So we'll distribute the x. So we'll get x times x, which is x squared, x times negative 6, which is negative 6x. 7x times x is 7x squared. Then we can combine like terms. So we see an x squared and a 7x squared. So we have 8x squared minus 6x equals 9. So we have a quadratic. So we want to get everything to the same side. So we'll subtract 9 to both sides. And we'll have 8x squared minus 6x minus 9 equals 0. So then we need to factor this. So we'll put it in the box since our a value is bigger than 1. So we have 8x squared, negative 6x, negative 9. So we're going to multiply these two together and get negative 72x squared. And we need to find the factors of negative 72, so one positive and one negative that have a difference of negative 6, okay, or add to negative 6. So you can, if you can't find it right away, you can list out all the factors if you want to. So we have 1 and 72, 2 and 36, 3 and 14. Nope, that's wrong. 3 and 24. Sorry. Okay, see if 4 goes in there. So 72 divided by 4 is 18. 5 wouldn't go in there. 6 times 12. And 7 times 8. Nope, 7 times 8 times 9, sorry. Okay, so then you're looking for the factors that also have a difference of 6. Okay, so which of those two are 6 apart from each other? And you can see it's this one. So we need the 6 to be negative when we add these together, so we want a negative 12. So then we'll do negative 12x and positive 6x. So then find what's in common on this top row. So what's in common here? They both divide by 4 and x. So then 4x times 2x will give me the 8x squared. 4x times negative 3 will give me the negative 12x. 2x times 3 will give me the 6x, and then check this last one. So 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. So then you've got the factors. So this factors to 4x plus 3 and 2x minus 3. And then have that equal to 0. So now you can separate these and solve. So 4x plus 3 equals 0. 2x minus 3 equals 0. Subtract 3 from both sides. And then divide by 4. Add 3 to both sides. And then divide by 2. So our two possible solutions are x equals negative 3/4 and positive 3/2. So then check those in your original problem, okay, to see if either of those make the denominator 0. So they're not going to make it 0 in this x minus 6, and they're not going to make it 0 in x or x minus 6. So both of these are answers. Neither one is extraneous. So your solutions to this problem would be negative 3/4 and positive 3/2. All right, next one. And again, pause the video so you can get this written down. So we'll want to factor this denominator. And so we want the factors. So this is an a value of 1. So we just need to find the factors of negative 3 that add to 2. So that's going to be a positive 3 and a negative 1. So then we can see what factors we have represented here. So I see the x plus 3. So I'll multiply by x plus 3. And then we also have an x minus 1. So I'll multiply by x minus 1. And that should take care of everything. So we'll go ahead and multiply this in. So we're going to multiply this times this first piece. So we're going to multiply by x plus 3 and by x minus 1. Then we're going to multiply it into the middle. So we've got x plus 7 here and x minus 1. So we're going to multiply in the x plus 3 and the x minus 1. And then we're going to multiply it to this last part. So we have 3x plus 5, and I'm just going to write the factored denominator, x plus 3, x minus 1. And then we're going to multiply by x plus 3 and x minus 1. So then you can go ahead and simplify, see what stuff cancels out, what factors cancel out top to bottom. So we see this x plus 3 will cancel in this one. So we're left with 1 times x minus 1. So you can just leave it as x minus 1. Don't even need parentheses around that anymore. So this one just simplifies to x minus 1. This next one, we see that x minus 1 cancels top and bottom. So we're left with x plus 7, x plus 3. And then in this next one, we see the x plus 3 cancel and the x minus 1 cancel. So we're just left with the 3x plus 5. So then we can start simplifying. So we have this x minus 1, and then we need to actually multiply this out. So we'll do x times x, which is x squared. We'll do x times 3, which is 3x. 7 times x, which is 7x. And 7 times 3, which is 21. And then equals 3x plus 5. Combine our like terms. So I'm going to start with this x squared. I'm just going to write that down. It doesn't have any like terms. Then we'll see this 1x, 3x, and 7x. Okay, so that's going to be 11x. So 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 7 is 11. So we have 11x. And then we've got the negative 1 and the positive 21. So negative 1 plus 21 is positive 20. Equals 3x plus 5. So we've got a quadratic, so we're going to want to bring this stuff over to the one side. So we're going to subtract 3x from both sides, and we're going to subtract 5 from both sides. So we'll get x squared plus 8x plus 15, and then equals 0. So we've got a quadratic that we need to factor. A value is 1, so we'll just find the factors of 15 that add up to 8. So either both positive or both negative. If they're adding to a positive, they're both going to be positive. And then 5 times 3 gives you 15. 5 plus 3 gives you 8. So then you can split these and solve them. So subtract 5 from both sides, we get x equals negative 5. Subtract 3 from both sides, and we get x equals negative 3. So these are our two possible solutions. Check them in the denominator. So we got x equals, what did we have? -5 and -3. So -5 is fine. Okay, but -3 is going to create 0 in the denominator, so that one is bad. So our one solution is x equals -5.